Good morning, good afternoon, good night. This your boy Nonsense Snap here, and today on Chicago Over Everything Sports, I'll be doing a post-game recap of the Chicago Bears' very first preseason game versus the Carolina Panthers. And man, I'm excited for football just being back on again. I've been looking forward to this Bears season. Training camp has been amazing, but you know what? This game was kind of rocky for us. Although we did have a few highlights that I will be addressing in this review, but I'm really looking forward to this season going forward. But before I get ahead of myself, let's go ahead and start the review.
Run as well, but pass rush is what he can bring to the table too. True one-on-one, he just walks back the center. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Where's the base by the center?
Yo, NFL is back, baby. Excited. I know it's just the preseason, but man, we're seeing plays like that. How can you not get hyped, especially with it coming from the Chicago Bears? Bear down. Now, first preseason game of the season, going against these whack Carolina Panthers. Let me stop. But nah, first preseason game going against the Panthers, and yeah, it was a pretty good game. For the most part, offense did an okay job. Defense, in my opinion, did a better job. Special teams, besides that one great kick, knowing the fact that we have a kicker, special teams suffered. And I don't understand what was going on, so they definitely have to address that there. But with the offensive side of things, Chase Daniel threw the ball 11 for 13. He had 120 yards with a 105 quarterback rating. Started off a little slow on the offense, had a couple sacks that led to a couple 3-and-outs. But after David Montgomery came into the game, the offense started picking up, and you saw a little bit more fluidity there. Definitely able to move the ball up. Definitely able to move the ball up the field, which led to a couple of scores. With David Montgomery, he ended the day with 3 carries for 16 yards as well as 3 catches for 30 yards with a touchdown. With that touchdown run, we went for 7 yards. But a lot of people, I guess, who were hyping this man up knew what they were talking about. So for the skeptics, if you aren't on this train now, I definitely recommend you too, because that express train is leaving the station. You feel me? Transitioning to the receivers. Javon Wims is just a gentleman I like to highlight all the time. He had 2 catches for 15 yards. Just a big body, big size, transitioning to be a really good pro receiver. Runs routes really well. And again, we're having that upside being a bigger guy. He also has a lot of strength to him as well, too, with some speed. So that's just somebody to look forward to the next couple of games as well as the regular season. But Ian Bunton might be somebody else to look forward to as well. He ended the day with 3 catches for 77 yards. And he also had 1 catch that led for 45 yards, which set up a field goal kick to end the half. Now that pitch and catch from Chase to Ian Bunton was definitely good. They also had a similar one that got a few yards, but the way he carries the ball is what worries me. Big body, big hands, but again, you got to work on him carrying the ball, because it seemed like Charles Tillman came out of retirement and he was able to punch that ball loose, so we got to work on that. On that fumble he did have, it was recovered by Emmanuel Hall. But, again, that's just something to work on in the upcoming games as well as the regular season. But I do expect Ian Bunton to get a couple more looks his way. So hopefully we can have that addressed in the near future. One particular person I like to highlight here, one particular play rather, with Tyquan Mizzell. He did have 2 receptions for 21 yards and 2 runs for 14 yards. But what Matt Nagy's able to do here, with coaches now, they're able to challenge a play to see if it's actually pass interference or not. So that's pretty cool. I'm not going to give you the definition of pass interference. We all should know what that is. Pretty much if a defender disrupts a receiver, for the most part, it's blatant. But you can look up the technical defense on NFL.com, I believe, in the rule books. But what you saw in this particular play in preseason, we didn't gain that yardage. They denied us that, so you still lose a timeout. But just knowing the fact that you have that as an opportunity to do so, that's pretty good. So we'll see how that changes in the regular season going forward. But transitioning to the defensive side of the ball, they were pretty stout, man. First half kept the Panthers to 6 points. Went up in the half again, 10-6. So that's pretty good. especially not having like a lot of the starters in, I think like a couple of guys. But just to highlight, Roquan Smith did a real good job. He had an earlier sack in the game as well as 2 tackles. Roy Robertson Harris, what you saw earlier, Nick Kawakowski, he had a sack as well. I do really want to highlight Deion Bush. Deion Bush had a really good game, couple pass deflections, couple tackles, as well as an interception. So he was all over the place. And knowing the fact that he's a backup to Ha Clinton Dix, if Ha does go down, we essentially got a starter, as our backup. So you always like to have, that second guy to be just as good as your first. So I feel like he's there. If not, he's getting there, and he probably will be there towards the end of this season, especially this being like his contract year. So he'll be a free agency at the end of this year. So hopefully Deion can show us something to keep him around for next year. But going from there, Josh Woods had a pretty good game. I think about 5 tackles, as well as Abdullah Anderson. He was around as well, too, at the D-line, about 4 or 5 tackles. And Clifton Duck ended up with having about 5, 6 tackles as well, too. Started off kind of slow early on, but he was able to pick it up in the later half of the game. But transitioning to the special teams, obviously, I'm going to highlight Elliott Fry with that 43-yard kick to end the half. We were scared because Eddie Pinheiro missed that 48-yard. We're like, uh-oh, did Nagy get the right guy? But no, Elliott Fry was able to, lift all of our spirits, and you definitely tell with the fans, standing ovation in a preseason game for a field goal kick says a lot. So hopefully, Elliott can progress forward with us in the preseason as well as in the regular season and be our kicker. If not, hopefully we can get, some type of insight as far as like where we're going with things. But right now it seems like Elliott's being that starter kicker for us. But from that, the punting defense suffered. I don't know what was going on, but we allowed a lot of yardage on that punt defense, which set up the Carolina Panthers in the second half to really distance themselves in points, just having a short yardage field. So we got to work on that in the next upcoming game against the Giants. That'll be this Friday, August 16th at 7:30 p.m. So hopefully, the Bears can work on these things in this first preseason game and get a little bit better the next game and getting into the regular season. So, let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought about the game. If there was anything that I missed, any guys that you saw out there that you look forward to seeing in the next upcoming game. And what do you guys think about David Montgomery? Do you think he's going to be the starter going into the season, or if you think he's going to be the backup to Tariq Cohen? But like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Share the video if you would, please, because that helps grow the channel. And always remember, you can't take a bad nap. Bear down. Peace.